Hi guys, and welcome in this tutorial of Python. First of all, we are going to explain how Python works. But if you have never programmed, this tutorial is for you, because we are going to explain also basics of program in general. So start, and we are going to start with basics. So variables, strings, input and output, selection statements, and for and while loops. So now we are in our compiler, in this case Python compiler, and compiler in general is used to execute our programs. In this case, I prepared a simple program, and I wrote print parentheses double quotes hello world, and this means that we want an output where there is a string hello world. So to execute this program, we have to use the button in the top, this run. And in general, in every type of compiler, because exist many types of compilers, we have to execute the programs. We have to find the button run. So we run the program, and we see that we have string hello world in output. We have to say that in the world of programming, we have to use the typecasting. It means that we have some type of classes. For example, string, in this case, integer, and float. So before I nominated typecasting, and now I'm going to explain it. So typecasting is a situation where you want to convert the data type. For example, if we want to add two numbers, we have to consider its type of value, because if one is an integer and the second is a string, we can't. So we need to use Python typecasting to convert string data type in integer before adding. Now let's see an example on our compiler. So this is our program, and now I'm going to explain to you what I wrote. So first of all, A, B, and C are variables. Variables in the world of programming are used to contains value. For example, A contains the value 4, B contains the value 4,00, and C contains a string 4. Obviously, they are different each other, these variables, but I want to demonstrate that to you with these 3 lines of code. First of all, we see the function print that we use for have an output, and in the parentheses we have the function type, and then in the other parentheses A, B, and C. With the function type, we can know the class of the variable, so integer, float, or string. So we now run the program, and we see that the variable A is a class integer, the variable B is a class float, and the variable C is a class string. Why this is so important? How I said before with the example, if I have, for example, two variable and I want to add them, we have to be careful, because if one variable is in integer or float, the other is a variable string, we can't do the addition. So before we have to transform the variable string in a variable integer. One concept that I want to specify is that if we have two variables that belong to two different classes, but they are integer and float, we can do operation. For example, in this case, we have a sum, and we have the variable a equal 2, the variable b equal 3, 0, and I create another variable c that is equal the sum of a and b, and then I use the function print to have an output this sum. So I run the program and I see that the result is 5, 0. What that means, what is the important concept here, is that if we have an operation between integer and float, the result will be in float. So if we find in the result, in this case 5, 0, we don't be afraid to have a mistake, but it is right. Now I want to do some examples about typecasting, but to explain this concept, I have to introduce input and output. And now let's go to the compiler. This time I don't write anymore because I want to write this program with you. So we can start with the input, and an easy example is for n equal input, and if we want to do a nice program, we can search for the user as, for example, a string that he sees when is running the program. We can see that then when I run the program. So, for example, insert one number, okay, and then and in this way, also without the string, we can write that we run the program, and we see that the program says insert one number, the string that we wrote, and then we can write some number, I don't know, and in this case the program is finished because we don't write anything more. So then we can I don't know, write for example an output, and we use print, and then we can write for example a string cool number, and in this way we show to the user an answer that is cool number, a string. So cool number. Okay. With this program we want to create a greeting, and for the user. And in this case, we can create a variable called name, and then whose input function create a string to be clear to the user. So insert your name, and then we can use print function to create this greeting. For example, hi plus name, and the result will be insert your name Max, and the result will be hi Max. In this case, I forgot to create the space, so we have to remember that when we are creating this kind of program, we have to create the space here. Okay, so run Max, and this time I Max, okay, with the space. So what we have to learn about this program? We have to learn that in the print function we can put in output many variables or string. In fact, if we want to do better this program, we can add the surname variable. So surname input function insert your surname, and here we can add the surname variable, but be careful because we have to do the space. So we can do in this way a string that is formed by just the space plus surname. So Max Morgan. Hi Max Morgan. Okay, the program is that. So now we can talk about typecasting, and in this program that I prepared, I wrote a program where there is an input of a number, and then I write the class of this variable. Then I say that n2 is equal 3, and then I wrote the class of this variable, and then I did an operation between the number that I take from the input and the n2. But we can see that it is impossible because the n is a class string, while the n2 is a class integer. So we know that it is an impossible operation. What we have to do? We can resolve this problem in two ways. First, we can use typecasting here in the input, and the result is correct. 6 plus 3 is 9. Or we can do in this way. We can put the typecasting here, it's the same thing. Okay, it's correct. So a thing that I don't said before is that we can do operation in the parentheses in the function print, and so we can do that also in float to modify a class in float and string. Just change it int, in this case integer, with string str and float. We have to be careful that during the operation the class of the variable have to be integer or float. In fact, in this case we see that this class is string, the first input, the second one true, but we see that in this case we have not operation, but we have use 4 and 5 to create the number 45, but we have it isn't correct because we want the addition between these two numbers. And so we have to be careful that the class during operations is not string in the variables. So for this episode about Python is all, and we see you later with the other episodes about Python programming. Bye guys.